Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode from the Lair. Let's see, I got 5 questions basically, and then I'll probably top it off with a Ranger School story. Those are miserable, but they're so juicy. Okay, question number 1. Why do you have such few subscribers? The man who made the one video, The Crazy Hot Matrix, has way more hits and way more subs than you do. And you have over 300 vids, all funny and true. YouTube is playing a game or something. I'd have to agree with you on that one. I've had a lot of my stuff demonetized. You know, I have a lot of stuff I want reviewed on a case-by-case basis. We're making a little headway, but not much. And a lot of people have sent me emails stating that they've been unsubbed from my channel, and they don't know why. And neither do I, other than it's probably something fishy. Google's messing around with the rhythms, the algorithms that they use, or whatever the equations they're doing for the search engines. They're fucking around with it. And I've noticed I'm getting a lot of the same results on Yahoo and Bing, so fuck those guys too. You know, right now, Google is the only show in town, and we just got to take a beating. All right, number 2. How do you pick your beer, and why hard stuff? What's the point? Okay, I have a ritual I go through when I go to film. I stop at a CVS, and I get my beer from one area, one shelf, whatever's there, I buy it. Usually it's on sale, you know, because it moves down as it gets older. And I have this one area where I buy my beer from. Then I go across the street, order some Del Taco, and I drive to the studio to film. Usually we go over what we're going to do while I'm eating, and most of the stuff we do is unrehearsed, and it's raw as it comes, and I'm glad you guys like it. In regards to the hard stuff, some of these topics are relatively painful, and you know, a shot of liquid sleep here and there wouldn't hurt anybody, would it? As long as you don't drive. We're responsible here, but it is what it is. I don't have a drinking problem. I got problems, so I drink. Okay, how do I handle ultimatums? I don't. If you find yourself in a position where you are issued an ultimatum from your girlfriend or whatever, your fiance, anyone actually, do not fall victim to ultimatums. Just fucking walk. It's not worth fighting for. If they're willing to put these kind of parameters on you, it's not worth keeping. Just take off. Number 4. Why do you think Antifa should lose their masks? Alright, I have nothing against people protesting. Is it annoying at times? Yes, it is. But when you show up to a protest and your face is covered, you're not there to protest. You're there to do carnage and damage, in my opinion. And if you show up to a protest wearing masks, the cops should immediately take your mask off and say, you want to stay here, you can't wear the masks. If you wear the masks, we're going to arrest you. Period. Put an end to this bullshit. Let's see. You'd be surprised how brave somebody gets when they think they won't get caught or they can't be identified. Because I know there's some atrocious shit going on out there, and they're just faceless, masked dudes, and you can't really pick them out of a crowd. All right, somebody asked me what the difference is between the Army of the 1980s and the Army of today. All right, first of all, the Army, it pretty much changes 100% every 10 years. So I've seen the Army into my 4th decade. When I came in the 80s, you know, I had a lot of good NCOs who trained me, be the man that I am. There wasn't any politics. If you had a problem, you went out back, put on the gloves, or you fought it out. I got 2 Article 15s. One for deploying without necessary equipment, and the other one for fighting my team leader. And my platoon sergeant said I got that Article 15 because I lost. But you live and you learn. I would say the Army of the 1980s, the soldiers were stronger, had more endurance, could take a lot more bullshit. Because there's a lot of bullshit in the Army. It just changes its flavor as you go along. Nowadays, we're marred down in bureaucracy and red tape. A lot of this red tape didn't exist in the 80s. That's how I was able to go from the 9th Infantry Division to 2nd Ranger Battalion, by circumventing the red tape. That's a story for a future event. All right, so you guys want a Ranger School story? Well, first of all, I graduated Ranger School September 11th, 1980. If you go to the website, you'll find me. I'm on the right side, like 1 or 2 rows up from the bottom. I look like a goddamn concentration camp victim. So when you go to the Ranger School from the Ranger Regiment, you have to go to Pre-Ranger first. And I went to Pre-Ranger, and I basically spent 90% of my time low crawling around, just getting physically punished. I really didn't learn much there. Nothing that I wasn't taught in the battalion. So when I went to Ranger School, I knew pretty much how to do Warnos, op orders, fragos, the 5 who, what, where, when, and why. I could call for fire. I knew how sectors of fire worked and how to put up a patrol base. I learned that all before I even went to Pre-Ranger. So basically, Pre-Ranger was just preparing you for the monumental suck fest that you're going to get in Ranger School. Now, when I went to Ranger School in the 90s, there were Rangers from the 80s and 70s that were getting over, and it was easy. And I'd probably say the same thing, because nowadays they give the Rangers 2 meals a day. When I was in, we only got 1. And, I don't know, I remember all that starving. When I went to Ranger School, I thought that the sleep would be the thing that I missed the most, but it wasn't. I actually enjoyed the hallucinations that I would get at night with lack of sleep, but it was the ever bone-numbing hunger that just drove you fucking crazy. And I remember sitting there in patrol base, crying my eyes out, and all I could hear was quit, quit, quit. And, it was monumentally hard not to quit, but I did it. I did not quit, because in Ranger School, all you gotta do is raise your hand and say, I quit. They come take you, they put you in the Jeep, they drive you to the house, give you donuts, and they out-process you, you're out of the course. At any time, you can quit. One of the main reasons that I made it through Ranger School, because I was between Pre-Ranger and Ranger School, it was like 4 months and 15 days of absolute living hell. I got recycled in desert phase. With the RIs I had, Alpha Company, when I went to Ranger School, they were just fucking sadistic fucking assholes. I mean, it's one of the main reasons why I decided to get out of the regular army and go Special Forces. Because I knew if I stayed in the battalion, I'd wind up as a drill sergeant or an RI working at Ranger School, and they could fuck off. Okay, now I know I'm a Ranger, from the regiment. That's Ranger School. There's supposed to be some kind of camaraderie, whatever you call it. Fuck that shit. Fuck them. If I see any of those guys in the real world, I'll be hard-pressed not to engage them in hand-to-hand combat. Fucking the horrible shit they would do. They would eat in front of you. They gave us these fucking repack MREs, which were not even, they took out like about 500 calories. So the one meal you got a day was 1,500 calories, but you are on the move for 24/7. You're burning at least 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day. And I remember, like, when you run out of fat and sugar in your blood, you start burning muscle, and you start sweating ammonia, and you stink to high heaven. Not good for you at all. And I can remember getting smoked. During the middle of patrol, they make us out go on the road, fucking play their silly games, up, down, ups, rollovers, jumping jacks, the whole fucking thing. And so that was one of the main reasons why I just lost my flavor for Ranger School. In fact, when I was in desert phase, these bastards didn't even give me a patrol. I needed two goes to graduate. I needed a PL go and a squad leader go. So I was behind the power curve. And I did not get along with the guys at Alpha Company because, as you can tell, I run my mouth a little bit. And I went out, and I got recycled. And I had 17 major minuses, and I was short 2 goes. Because in Ranger School, to successfully get the tab, you have to have 50% goes or 50% no-goes. It has to be 50-50 or greater. So I get recycled into Charlie Company. There's some more drama there. I'll go into another day. and I get in processed. And they sit down with the company commander, it was Charlie Company, and he asked me why I had 17 major minuses. And I told him I have a big mouth and these guys are fucking assholes. So he's like, all right, Popp, this is what we're going to do for you. I'm going to take all those major minuses. They're gone. You got a clean slate here. You just got to get your 2 goes. I don't think you're going to do it, but it is possible. And when I recycled, I was back at Benning for 2 or 3 weeks. And I went back to White Sands, New Mexico, whatever. This is one of the desert phases out there. And I was used to like planning while we're getting with artillery, and taking off your NBC gear and putting it back on, carrying 5 or 6 casualties around while you're trying to do your plans. And it was absolutely fucking impossible. In fact, I think Alpha Company that year graduated like 11 people out of, I don't know, I want to say 80. That was the only people who got first time goes. And it was a miracle that they made it. So I go and I recycle in the Charlie Company, and there's like a terrain model table, and there's pre-made fighting positions, and they gave you time to plan, and you could brief your people correctly, and you got chow and you needed to eat, and it was completely fucking different. It was how it was supposed to be run, not some chaotic fucking hell fest that Alpha Company put on, and those guys can fuck off. I think I said that 3 times. So, I got lucky. One of the RIs in Charlie Company, I'm not going to say his name, but he's a Samoan guy, and he was from Hawaii. And every time he came out, I'd ran into him while he was on the 2nd Ranger Battalion before the Panama mission and shit. I knew him, he knew me, just by, in the same company. He was a different platoon. But every time he came out, he graded me fairly, objectively, and I was able to pull off 2 goes. So basically, I earned my Ranger tab on September 11th, 1990, and I left part of my ass on the barbed wire when I fucking cleared the standard. And I'll tell you this right now. If I had known how fucking miserable and how sadistic those motherfuckers were at Ranger School, I might not have went. Because it was absolutely fucking shameful what those fuckers did. Anyway, I have plenty of Ranger School stories. If you guys want to hear more, just let me know in the comments. And, I'm kind of sick today, so I'm a little off. But you guys take it easy.